Okay, hi. Welcome to Break Time with Brakeman. I'm very excited to have three of who will be some of our newest members, hopefully soon. They work at Bronx Defenders, and they will be joining UAW Local 2325, the Association of Legal Aid Attorneys. And I'm so excited to welcome all of you. I have with me today Imani Wareru, who is a attorney in the criminal defense practice. I have Marianne Rosa, a civil legal advocate, and Naima Drecker Waxman, who is a practice associate for immigration. And I am going to do most of the listening and turn it over to you, Imani, if you could talk about who you are and the work that you do and why you all want to join a union.
Thank you so much. So yes, as you stated, my name is Imani Waweru. I'm an attorney in our criminal defense practice at the Bronx Defenders. This is a long way of saying I'm a public defender that works here in the Bronx. What we do is we represent people who are accused of crimes here in the Bronx throughout their whole entire criminal case, from arrest to the end of the case. Mm-hmm. And we particularly represent people who can't afford an attorney, and that's where our role as a public defender comes in. As far as why I want to unionize, it's a pretty long list, but for the sake of not taking everything, I'm just gonna start with what I believe is one of the most important reasons for myself. And I'm a kind of come full circle with this, but as a Black attorney and a Black male attorney, retention of attorneys of color is one of the biggest and most important things to me at the office. In September, I would have been here about 2 years, and even within my short time of being here, there have been a number of attorneys that have left, that are attorneys of color that have left for a number of reasons. Burnout, not able to sustain themselves financially, and these are many concerns that I think would be addressed if we had had a union. Mm-hmm. I know attorneys that were hired in my class 2 years ago that left already due to burnout.
Yep.
I had a supervisor who was a Black woman who has left. For whatever reason, I really believe, had we had a union in place, that maybe we could have advocated for things to be set in place to keep her here. For those that don't know, Black attorneys make up maybe 4 to 5% of the attorneys, in the United States. So, we already lack representation. And that's reflected from law firms to nonprofits like the Bronx Defenders, and it's definitely, reflected in our office. So creating structures in place that are able to keep us here is one thing that I'm hoping that this union can be successful at. I like my job. I want to do this long term, but it is a very, emotionally taxing job. It's, a stressful job. It's not the prettiest job. So I would like to do this as long as possible. But the reality is, I don't know if I'll be able to sustain myself in this job long term. And I'm hoping that with the union, we will be able to advocate for things, higher pay, better healthcare services, et cetera, and be enough to keep me here as long as, humanly possible. So yeah, I would start off by saying I think the most important reason why I would like to form a union is to kind of increase the likelihood of me being able to stay in this job, increase the potential rate amongst, attorneys of colors, Black attorneys in particular, Black males, even to be more specific. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm advocating for you.
Good, thanks. No, and I appreciate your honesty. I'm not an attorney, but I've gone and, when I went to all of the different locals, I went to court with some of your folks, and it's intense. Yeah, so I really appreciate your honesty. Marianne, you want to talk about your job and why you want to be in a union?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Beverly. So I'm a civil legal advocate at the Bronx Defenders. I'm also a lifelong Bronxite. I grew up here. This is my community. I love every single thing about the Bronx, and most importantly, the people of the Bronx, who are incredibly resilient. And so to work in my community and to fight along with attorneys like Imani and other non-attorneys like Naima is really a privilege. And what brought me to the Bronx Defenders is the fact that the Bronx Defenders is known to be an innovative, holistic defense organization that's really paving the road, right, throughout the nation on what holistic defense should be. And so that, for me, as someone who wants to be an attorney, to change those numbers that Amani spoke to, right, in terms of representation for people of color in this profession, was really exciting. And so when I showed up, I was really like wide-eyed and excited. And then the reality hit me that there's lots that could be changed in terms of the culture of our organization and the work and how it's done. And in particular, when we think about holistic defense, what that means as for me as a civil legal advocate is Amani represents someone in court, in criminal court, and I'm working with them and fighting alongside them outside of criminal court. So if their car was taken, I'm the person who's working with that client day in and day out so that they can get their property back. It was essentially stolen from them by the city, right? And so that's what my work looks like. And it really is a holistic approach when it comes to our community members. Unfortunately, though, there's a lot more that we can do in terms of being holistic internally within our office when we think about the equity between non-attorneys and attorneys and within practices. So I'm in the civil practice, and we don't have the same level of resources and support that, let's say, the criminal practice does, right? And so for me, that's one of the main reasons why I want a union, so that we can have collective voice and power, so we can go to the table and let management know these are the particular things that we need as public defenders, whether we're a criminal public defender or a civil public defender or fighting ICE, that we need these things so that we can best fight for our clients, right? This isn't only about us, but it's about our community. And the sustainability that we need to do this work to make sure that we're fighting with our clients in systems that are unjust, and we need every tool at our disposal, at our fingertips, right, to make sure that we're doing and being creative in a way that is the mission of the Bronx Defenders, and we can't do that without a union.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I've not actually heard that term holistic organization. I really like that. I like that a lot. That's great. Thanks, Marianne. Naima, how about you? Tell us about yourself and why you want a union.
Yeah. So as I said, I'm Naima. I'm the Immigration Practice Associate, which is an administrative role in our immigration practice. We do support for plea consults that keep our non-citizen clients safe in criminal court. We do affirmative applications for non-citizens to get status or work authorization in the US. And we're part of the first program in the country that provides public defenders to people going through detained deportation proceedings. So I work with our interdisciplinary team on all of those things and managing the program. And I think one of the things that Marianne said that really resonates with me and why I want a union is around sort of like a culture of inclusion and respect. And one of the things that we want with having a wall-to-wall union is to make sure that the people who are in non-attorney roles in our office also have the same resources that attorneys have in our office, have the same access to flexibility, professional development benefits, and really making tangible changes that reflect the fact that we have respect for our workers, including things like open comment periods on supervisory hiring so that we can have our supervisors reflect our staff and reflect those values of collaboration and respect. Caseloads that reflect not only the attorney's work, but also the advocates who represent clients along with them, if not in court, in many of the city's systems. And so we are really excited about creating a union that really helps us hold up those values of collaboration and of holistic defense.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you expect? I mean, they're going to sign, it sounds like they're going to sign a neutrality agreement. You're going to sign cards. How hard do you think it's going to be to get them to really bargain in good faith with you at the table? What's your confidence level in that?
Yeah, I mean, we all chose to be at the Bronx Defenders because we believe in its mission in the same way that we think our leaders have chosen to stay at the Bronx Defenders because they believe in our mission. And so we are really hopeful that an organization that professes those progressive values is going to live up to them and respect the needs of the workers, and just have us come to the bargaining table as equal partners in living out that mission.
Good. How about you, Imani or Marianne? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty hopeful. I mean, one thing that I know our management, won't disagree with is that all of us are pretty passionate about the work that we do.
Yeah.
And we're very diligent in our work, more than what our management asks for us to do. So I'm hoping that management sees us asking for this union as a way of them being able to acknowledge the fact that we are so dedicated to this work. And they can acknowledge that by, bargaining in good faith and meeting the needs that we have so we can better continue serving our clients. So I know and believe that management knows and believes that we work and believe in this work so much. I'm hopeful that that the bargaining process will be pretty seamless in order to provide a better work environment for us, attorneys, advocates, and the like across the board.
Yeah. What do you think, Marianne?
Yeah, I mean, I have to second everything Amani and Naima shared. I mean, I think our leadership, they're incredible people, and I truly believe that each of us wake up every morning incredibly excited about the work that we do in our community. And so my hope is that there's no hesitation, right, to come to the table and negotiate with us. And I think that also not just the values that our leadership has in each of us, but I think that within our union here at the Bronx Defenders, that with the overwhelming majority of people who have signed cards, that we're showing strength, that we're building unity. And I know through this process, I've learned so much about other practices and titles. And I think that's done nothing but strengthen the work that we do and help the understanding. And I think management will see that and realize that this is the best for the organization as a whole, and for public defenders throughout the city and the nation.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very exciting to talk to all of you and to have you be joining our region. I feel like at this moment, it would be remiss not to ask how all of you are doing around the murder of George Floyd, the protests around our criminal justice system that really you're a part of, but really the law enforcement part of it has just gone unchecked for far too long. And we don't have a lot of time, but it would be remiss not to ask you all how you're doing. Imani, as a Black man, I don't want to assume any feelings on your part, but I do feel as a white woman sort of a little ill-equipped and in a position just to be listening at this moment.
I appreciate that. I've actually had this question quite a bit, how am I? And honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. It's hard to, I'm still processing, and I don't feel like I've had the privilege to really just sit down and process my feelings. Yes, I am Black. Yes, I am a Black male, but I'm also an attorney. So I feel like with that attorney label I have certain obligations. So I've been helping, with stuff here on the ground. If we have protests, I would help and come be a legal observer, provide legal support for those who need it. So I haven't really had a time to kind of like take off my hat of being an attorney.
Yeah.
A Black man and just process my feelings and emotions about what's going on.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
What I can say is I am, upset, of course, angry. I'm in this constant stage of anger. I believe it's James Baldwin has this quote, and it's like to be Black in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time. And it's kind of how I feel. I feel like I'm in this constant state of anger from Trayvon Martin, before Trayvon Martin, Deshaun Bell, Breonna Taylor, Botham Jean, the names just keep piling on and keep piling on. And it's not that I'm desensitized to it, it's just the feeling of anger and rage is just normalized. And it's constantly within that pace, that place. So,
yeah.
Question of how you're doing, I'm trying to process it. I'm trying to utilize the tools that I have, that I'm privileged to have by being an attorney, but I'm also trying to take a step back and, process what I'm feeling as a Black male and as a Black person in this country. So it's tough, It's tiring, it's exhausting, but you know, still fighting. So long as I'm here, I think it's my obligation to keep fighting.
Right, right. Marianne and Naima, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, first I want to say thank you, Amani, for sharing. It's me and Amani are actually on the same team. When we talk about holistic defense, it's that we work together and we make referrals to each other. And I can honestly say it's been a privilege, and to see Amani and all of the other Black attorneys, Black staff members who show nothing but Black excellence every day for our community is astounding. And Amani, I really appreciate working with you day in and day out. In terms of everything that's happening right now, somewhat in a similar place to Amani, I think it's really difficult to process everything. You know, I'm from the Bronx. I have two brothers who faced similar things in terms of police brutality, and luckily haven't lost their lives, right? But I remember as a Bronxite 21 years ago when Amadou Diallo was shot at 41 times, and being, you know, almost a teenager and not really being able to understand it. And I can say to this day, I still don't. A few days ago, I was able to go to a Bronx protest and see firsthand, you know, how a group of community members came together, you know, exercised their First Amendment rights, and we're there for their community, and everything was peaceful until the police showed up with their weapons, brought violence, with their batons in hand, ready. And the rage that you saw, the fear that I felt, right? And so there's a lot more that we need to do as a nation. And I'm grateful to be joining the labor movement, because I know the labor movement has also stood up towards these injustices and is working towards improving conditions, especially for people of color and our Black community across the country.
Yeah. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Imani. Naima, how about you? Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I think just echoing some of what's been said, which is that it's heartbreaking, it's been heartbreaking, and it's not new, and it's certainly not new for our advocates who represent people who are subject to police brutality when they are arrested all the time. And it has just really been incredible to see how advocates in our office, in their roles and in their just capacity as like volunteers, have really gone out to represent protesters, to protest, to be legal observers, to man jail support. It's really, really inspiring to know that this is a community of people who really care deeply and are invested in not only, you know, representing people one-on-one, but in really in system change. And certainly we're seeing that with different movements like Aid to Abolition, and thinking about the way that as a union, we can also be part of taking those bolder stances and really center the voices of the people who are most affected by police brutality, people who are from the Bronx, and having them have real power and decision making in our office.
Well, thank you all so much. I mean, part of my job is just naturally to listen, but I think as a, you know, right now, I feel like it's my job to listen to all of our members about, you know, where they are at, what positions we as an institution should take. And, you know, we have taken, obviously, back to the days of Walter Reuther, who was one of our sort of most well-known leaders. He was very active in the civil rights movement and in the women's movement, and really leveraged the power of our union in the interest of furthering social and economic justice. So we have, you know, big shoulders that we stand on, but a very different world. So I appreciate hearing from all of you, and I'm very open to our members, and we're actually, as a staff here, trying to figure out ways to create the space for these kinds of courageous conversations to start happening, and figuring out what our positions are going to be and where we want to advocate for change. because there needs to be change. There's no question about that. So I want to thank you all so much. It was very exciting to talk to you. And after you get a union, we'll do this again and we can hear all about it. Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.